connecting. Okay, so this says we're going. Hello, everybody. I see that there's a couple people hanging out waiting for us to get going. I just want to make sure that it's all working. So give us just a moment. Yay, it seems to be all working. Great.
Cool.
So, Let's see. Mute that.
I'm going to put on live chat here.
Yes, let's pop that out and pop out chat. Because we love, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we really love it when you type in some questions for us as we go through this. Great, yeah, this all seems to be working. So as we are streaming this, there is a little bit of a delay through to YouTube. So please just be aware that if you see things like a little bit of a delay or a little bit of a hitch on YouTube while you're watching this, that yeah, we're still here and things are still, you just got to kind of like hang out for a second and let it catch up.
Yeah, totally. And today things are going to be done a little bit differently. Hopefully if you're on here, you are aware that this is Isabel Spradlin's YouTube channel. But today I'm going to be taking over and doing most of the talking and doing a bit of an interview of Elizabeth. I don't know your name.
That's hilarious.
That's how it's gonna go. We just chat. We like to chat with each other. We love to talk business and practice, and we oftentimes do a lot of laughing, and sometimes my brain blanks.
Totally.
So back to the questions in the live chat. The other thing is we may not get to you immediately, but please stay on. And when there's like a pause or a break and we can check questions, comments, we'll definitely get in there and respond to you because we're super appreciative to have you on here with us live. That's what makes it really fun.
And I do see all of you kind of jumping on right now, which is so exciting. And yeah, so hello, welcome. If you want to throw into chat where you are in the world, like, or what brought you here today, we would love to see that. And like Amber said, we might not sort of like respond instantly, partly because of the lag in YouTube, but also partly because we're going to be doing our thing, but we will definitely take a look at what you guys are telling us. We're excited to have you here.
Yeah, so who wants to learn more about Isabel?
Yeah. Me, I do. And actually, so just before we jump in, oh yay, hey Victor, Aqua for Life, we see you here, and Donna, hi, nice to see you both. Yay, Portland and Ohio, awesome.
Yay, Victor!
Yeah, so as we are jumping into this, we're going to give it because this is for my podcast at yourmassagepractice.com, I'm going to give it a little bit of an intro, and then Amber is going to kind of take over from there. So we'll just kind of start like the official part of it. William is here from Los Angeles. Cool. Welcome, William. Yeah, so I'll give that little intro. We'll jump into the podcast and get going. Sound good?
Sounds perfect.
Okay. All right, so welcome to the Your Massage Practice podcast. I'm Isabel Spradlin, and I'm here with Amber Cook from healingwaze.com, W-A-Z-E. And today is like, I'm a little bit out of my element because Amber is going to take over our episode today, and she has been very excited about interviewing me for the podcast. So I'm as excited as you are to hear what questions she has. And of course, as we go through, both Amber and I have well over a decade of experience in our full-time private massage practices, so we have a lot to offer by way of answering your questions or thoughts as they come up. We are, as we so often do for these episodes, we're recording live in YouTube, and so for those of you joining us live on YouTube, we're going to be trying to keep an eye on any questions that you put into the chat box, and we'll answer them as we go, as we are able. So with all of that said, Amber, I think you can just take it away.
All right, let's do this. It looks like we have somebody from Colorado also watching. Alexandra, thank you. We have people from all over today. This is awesome. Thank you for being here. Just to give you a really quick backstory, the way that I met Isabel was she actually reached out to me on LinkedIn right before my company Healing Ways launched, and she interviewed me like 2 years ago-ish. So I have been waiting my chance to interview Isabel. So as you know, again, this is Isabel Spradlin, and she is the owner of Spradlin Body Works in Portland, Oregon. And she is also the creator of Your Massage Practice. So first of all, Isabel, why don't you tell everybody, if they don't, because some people may not know, tell us a little bit about your massage and body work practice first, because that's what got this all started.
Yeah, absolutely. So my practice, when I went into massage school, I knew, even as I was applying to massage school, that the only thing I ever really wanted to do was work in the injury recovery realm. Like, I wanted to help people feel better. I wanted to, help relieve pain and just help people live their lives in the way that they wanted to, physically. And so once I got into my practice, I immediately started into private practice. I did not at any time work for somebody else, not for a chiropractor or spa or anything like that. I actually, as I was waiting for my license to process, I took out the lease on my first office space, and it was my own space. The whole thing was all mine in downtown Portland. And I felt very powerful and very excited about that. And I really thought I knew what I was doing, and I totally did not. But I knew I wanted to work for myself, and I wanted to run my practice in the way that I wanted to run it from my own values, and be able to refer in the way I wanted and treat my clients and run my sessions all in very specific ways. And so that's why I kind of immediately went into private practice. And, that's a big deal. It's like a big financial risk. It's sort of, as much as I thought I knew what I was doing, and it turned out I didn't, there was a huge learning curve. But that was almost 12 years ago now. And, I've, not that there haven't been ups and downs, but I feel so profoundly lucky to have started my practice. And then over time, my hands-on work shifted. So I've always only worked like in the injury recovery realm, like I said, but it got so much more specific in about the second year of my practice. I had worked with dancers, I had worked with athletes, which are often the same thing. I worked with all sorts of people recovering from all sorts of different things. But then I had my first client come in for abdominal pain, abdominal adhesion pain specifically, and that launched what I have been doing for like the last almost 10 years now, which is helping people recover from abdominal surgeries. And of course, I always love the preventative side of it. But what I learned in the first couple years of doing that work, because I only wanted to work the preventative side of it, I wanted to get to people before they were having surgery, so that if it was something preventable, surgery-wise, that they wouldn't have to go through that whole traumatic process. But the reality is that people find me after surgery, after they're having pain and complications after surgeries. And so over time, that's really become my specialty. In the last 3 years, I've been focusing a lot more in supporting moms after delivery, or in the unfortunate case of a miscarriage. So however pregnancy ends, I really have come around to supporting moms and their bellies in that time. And whether that time is right after the delivery, whether it's vaginal or cesarean, or whether it's 30 years down the road, their kids are grown and they're finally ready to work with maybe the digestive distress or the urinary distress, or just strange pains in their bellies, or they feel like they want their scar to be more mobile, their old C-section scar to be more mobile, things like that. And so in the last several years, I've been working much more concertedly with moms in that way. And I love all my clients. It's been such a rewarding body of work overall.
Yeah, I can imagine. I just feel so warm and fuzzy listening to you talk about it. I'm like, man, can I make something up just so you can work on my belly?
Yay! Yes, please make something up. Any reason to get it.
I've had a baby.
Yeah,
so
you have. You've had 2 babies. You need it.
That sounds awesome. So you've definitely set yourself up in a very specific niche. I love that. When did that get so specific? You may have said that in the beginning, but
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is that we all think we're specific in the beginning. And I've seen this
yeah.
across the board. Like everybody goes into their practice saying, I want to do this. I want to work stress relief, or I just want to do like a super high quality full body massage, or I just want to work with athletes, or I just want to do injury recovery, or I just want to do craniosacral, or like we all go in usually almost always with like what seems like a very specific thing to us that we want to do.
Yeah.
And then as we get into our practices, and especially, so now I'm talking very specifically about private practice. We get into our private practices and we realize, like, in order to get our practice full, we often have to take clients that are kind of outside of the niche that we want to be serving initially, which I consider to be one of the most beautiful, necessary things about starting a practice.
I agree, yeah.
Because what happens is that you get clients into your practice that you might not have taken had you had the freedom to only work on your specific niche that you thought you wanted to do. But because you're seeing a little bit broader range of clients, you get more experience and you get a sense of like, wow, these other things are happening for these people. And I am feeling really drawn to that. So, like I cycled through in the first couple of years of my practice, I was like, well, yeah, I'm injury recovery, but like that looks like something different while somebody is pregnant, like the kind of the hip and pelvis dysfunctions that can show up during prenatal stuff. And then, so for a while I wanted to work prenatal, took some classes, learned some prenatal stuff, and then did that for a while and was like, oh, actually, like, I don't love that as much as I thought I would, and so then it shifted again. And then for a while, I only wanted to work with dancers. And then for a while, I only wanted to work with runners, so it shifts a lot because of the people that you have coming in, kind of teaching you about what's possible in your work. And so even though I was quote unquote specific with the injury recovery work, it turns out that the specificity that I really now engage with the post-surgical abdominal work, like to me, that's the specificity level. Like it totally still fits within the injury recovery umbrella. But, I think a lot of times when people are thinking about their specializations, especially early in their practice, we get really tied to these initial ideas. And like, we sometimes feel like, well, if I don't follow through on that specialty that I said I was going to do, then I must be failing somehow. But the reality is that you're evolving in your practice and you're getting to know your work better. You're getting to know what kinds of clients you serve best, For a long time, I really resisted the post-surgical work. I only wanted the pre-surgical work. And I resisted it because I felt like, well, the people who really need me are the pre-surgical people, so they don't have to go through surgery. And in my mind, that's what I wanted to serve. But then the more people I saw who were like beating down my door for the post-surgical work, I was like, wow, these folks really need help. Like just as much as I thought the other folks needed help, these folks really need help, and they're not finding it in other places. And so, you like grow into your specialty, but you have to have some flexibility there.
Yes.
So that's kind of, it's an organic process. It has to be a flexible process to define your niche. And now when I tell people what I do, that I specialize in helping people recover from abdominal surgery, the response I get most often is like, wow, that's really specific. And I'm just like, actually, it's not that specific because there are so many different types of abdominal surgeries and so many different reasons to have abdominal surgeries. I mean, some of them are cancer related. Some of them have nothing to do with cancer. Some of them are completely elective. Some of them, were based on, are like emergency surgeries. Some of them are very well planned. Like within the surgical realm, like what I do is still fairly broad, so it's interesting, like a lot of people think like if I really specialize or work towards specialization that I just won't have enough clients to fill my practice. Yeah. And I think, it's just experience that teaches you, like there's a certain creativity that goes into it that over time you start to realize like just how powerful it is to really have a niche.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you 100% on everything you said. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I mean, you had like your niche a few times. You've had a few different,
right?
Like you said, have evolved into your next one.
Yeah.
And if you had just closed off and said no injury repair in the way that I'm saying this, you wouldn't then have evolved to working on women that have been pregnant. I mean, that's kind of your biggest niche right now.
Right.
That's awesome. What
Yeah.
a great, yeah. So needed too, because there is many of us more like me who do, the general, I have also, I'm like, well, I'm going to do injury repair only. I came out of massage school with, I just want to fix everybody.
Yeah.
And so over time for me, it evolved to, well, there's also people that really like the energy work and although I do a very deep pressure massage, not necessarily deep tissue so much. And so it turned for me into like what a lot of us do, although, we're all different. You can still be someone like me who gives full body massages, but you're still different from the massage therapist next door to you.
Absolutely.
None of us are the same. So
that's exactly right, because you bring your own angle to the full bodiness of it. You bring your own experiences and your own preferences for how you are worked with on the table, and you can't replicate that stuff. Like, no. I hear from massage therapists sometimes, like, well, I'm hesitant to talk to other massage therapists about what I do because I'm kind of afraid that they'll like steal my methods or like steal the experience that I'm offering and offer it to their clients instead. And I'm just like, well, I understand the fear because, it's sort of instilled in us by capitalism or whatever, but it's not a real thing. Like, even if they took everything that you think you do and enacted it in their own practice, it would still be a different experience for those clients. And I just don't think we need to worry about that at all. And in fact, the opposite, we need to get more connected to each other and be in community with each other. And I remember in the early years of my practice when I was running, this is in like year 3 or 4 maybe, I was running a networking group of other healthcare practitioners. And I put together this workshop, and various different practitioners kind of talked about their practices, private practices, and how they built them over time and stuff like that. And this one massage therapist, I will never ever forget this, and I love her forever for saying this. She said, the best advice I ever received was as a massage therapist, the more massage therapists you know, the more full your practice will be. And I was so struck by that because it was sort of the nature of what we were trying to do through that workshop and through that networking organization anyway, but to hear her say that, it can be really challenging for people to hear that. And it's also like, it bugs me that it even seems counterintuitive because it's just so straightforward. Like, of course, the more massage therapists you know, the stronger your practice is, because one, none of us have time to, if you are running a full practice with lots of repeat clients, you're probably maxed out at anywhere between 20 and 40 client load per year. Like, if you have 20 to 40, and let's push it and say you're not doing a good job with retention, say even 60 clients per year that you need to keep your practice full. 60 clients per year, nobody can, like, that's so few people, right, to fill your private practice. So we need each other to, like, when we stop having space to really bring in lots of new people into our practices, we need other people to refer to so that these clients are getting the care that they need from somewhere, right? So that they're not being just left out in the cold. Or to guess, like, one of the best ways to support our whole community and our clients is to have people that you really value their work, other massage therapists who you really value their work, that you can send people to when you're not able to help them, or it's not within your niche or things like that. I think that gets under talked about.
Yeah, and I know you do a really great job in talking about that, referral partnerships, for sure. That is something that you and I both have a huge passion for. That's one of the things I first learned about you and went, yes, she gets it. And this is why she has a very successful practice. It's interesting you brought that up, all just as a side. Today, in fact, so I run a networking community that's nationwide for practitioners to do exactly what Isabel is talking about.
Healingways.com, WAZE.
And today, somebody left the community because they were concerned that there was competition between them and another member. And that just really made me sad. I definitely responded with exactly this. Like, I'm so sorry you feel this way, because I feel like this is a huge mindset problem. And we could go on. This will probably be another topic. We're going to do this in a future show.
Absolutely.
It's a huge mindset issue within our industry. Competition within our industry does not exist. Please, if that's something that you feel, find a way to heal that, because exactly what Isabel said. It does not exist. There is enough for all of us. I mean, there's still so many people out there not getting massage on a regular basis that need to be.
Yeah, or so many people that they're not with the right fit of practitioner. And I'm not sure who that serves. I mean, not that I think that you should just like get rid of clients willy-nilly. Like, you have a business to protect. You need to protect your bottom line. There's a lot that goes into running a successful practice, and retention is a serious issue, and you need to retain clients. And it can be really hard to cycle out clients who are just not the right fit. But one of the most important conversations you can have with a client is to bring up, like, hey, so I've noticed over our last several sessions that I'm not totally sure where I'm able to help you achieve the goals that you really want to be achieving here. Whether that's total relaxation on the table. Like, I'm noticing that sometimes it seems like maybe you're not able to drop into that really deep relaxation state. Or for me, like, we're not getting the progress on your shoulder or your belly, or like I can think of, or like your energetic field, or whatever it might be, like I feel like we might not be getting the progress on this that really benefits you most. Do you want to talk about being referred to somebody who I think might be able to help you more? And that is one of the most nurturing, like, clients have two responses to that. One, like, wow, thank you for paying attention to what's happening in our sessions, like, and that you care enough about me to even bring this up, right? And when you have that conversation with clients, it usually means you are really connected to your clients. And the response that I have had from that is pretty much, it's like 60-40. 40% of the time, it's like, oh, thank you so much for caring enough to refer me to somebody else. Yeah, what do you think I should do next? And then you can help give them options for that. The other 60% of the time, they kind of get this panicked look on their face, like, do I have to leave? And it's like, no, that's not, you don't have to leave. I just want to make sure that we're still on the same page, that this is really benefiting you, because we often don't know the full benefit of what a client is getting from their work with us. So their stated aim might be to relieve a sore shoulder, or to recover from a sprained ankle, or just to be really relaxed on the table. Like, that may be what they say they want. And definitely part of what they want is that. But there is a whole other piece that goes into this that is the unknowable, like, what are they really getting from it? Like, can they even express what they're getting from it? But if they are getting an experience where they are feeling truly seen by you, truly regarded by you, they're getting the sense of containment of this time, and like, this is such important space and time for them, like, that shoulder might not be as important as they thought it was. Or they'll go get acupuncture for that and still come to you, or, so many other ways that can work. But if we are in this competition mindset, then our clients don't get served as well. And that just is not what we're here to do. I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, totally. And I lost my train of thought. So we'll take a pause here.
And this is a great time to say, yay, I'm so excited for the people who have joined us. And so if you have questions about anything that we've said or talked about, or a question that you want me to answer, please throw them in the chat.
Yeah,
now is the time.
It looks like we have a newbie that just joined, the Bluesy brother. Love it, from Atlanta. So thank you, everybody. Yeah, so as you can see, we're gonna cut off of that. We're gonna just chop that off, and we're gonna bring that up in another show.
Very good.
Because as you can see, Isabel loves to help other practitioners. She loves our industry. She loves to see others succeed, and that is why she has started her second business, which is your massage practice. So I want to talk a little bit about that piece now.
Cool.
What brought you to starting this?
Yeah, so yourmassagepractice.com is like a thing that grew out of I think a lot of it came out of the chaotic way in which I had to learn to grow my practice, and the really wonderful amount of unsolicited but useful advice that I got from other practitioners as I was doing that. So the first building that I was in, the first office that I had, there was a naturopathic clinic in like a floor below me, and then on the main floor there was an acupuncturist, and they both were super supportive of my practice when I moved into the building. They were very kind, and they were both like, okay, what are you doing to grow your business? And I was like, I'm here. Like, everybody I know knows what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing to grow my business. And they were like, no. They were like, yes, good place to start, but no. And they both just like ran down, like, these are the things that you need to do. And just gave me, like, they were like, you need to get in with this networking group. You need to, be putting your cards in these places, and this was like 12 years ago when like social media and things like that barely existed. It wasn't like now, and so the advice may have been different, but honestly, the advice I got then and the way that I teach my programs now is about the timeless aspect of it, because the online stuff will always shift. It's always going to shift. It might work for, 1 or even 5 years, but then something always changes with the online stuff, and trying to chase that and keep up with that can waste a tremendous amount of time and energy. So for me, the way I teach is that I want you to know the timeless stuff that I was, thank goodness, like pushed into by other practitioners who were like, we want your practice to succeed. What are you doing? And so basically I noticed that other practitioners were so floundering to start their practices, other massage therapists. And we get all of this really crummy information about what it's like to start a practice, which is like, you're a great massage therapist. Like, you should totally start your own practice. I'd come to see you. And then massage therapists think like, oh, that's great. Well, I have a built-in client base of these several people, and surely they'll tell their friends and family, and then my practice will just be full. And so they start out on their own, and nobody has prepped them for like actually running a practice is running a business, and it's not just about the hands-on work. And you're going to need so many more people than just that handful of people who are excited about you. Yeah. It's wonderful that you have those handful of people. It's needed to have those handful of people, but that is not going to lead to a full practice for the vast majority of people. It really takes a lot more than that. And over the years, I've just kind of looked at like all the different pieces that I've had to put together in my practice, kind of flying by the seat of my pants. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with people guessing. I'm done with people feeling like they have to do this hodgepodge, or like, I'll take this class over here about marketing that doesn't really work for massage therapists, because the way we market as massage therapists, specifically as massage therapists, is quite different from most other businesses, even to most other healing practitioners, because we work in these huge 1 or 1.5 hour chunks of time in which we cannot see other people, and so the way our practices need to be built to make sure that they're financially viable, that our marketing for that is viable, that people really understand what they get out of their time with us, that our pricing is viable, the whole thing, like that's really different from most other practices where, like an acupuncturist can choose to see 2 or 3 or 4 people kind of on a rotating basis at a time. That really changes the financial and the scheduling picture and the whole everything, right? The amount of space you need, the connections that you need to fill that kind of practice. Your marketing really changes. And so I wanted to create something that really is about creating a practice that's fully integrated with itself. Like, all the pieces work together to support the other pieces. So you're not ever putting in energy that is kind of doing nothing for you, right? Or that works for a little while, but then drops out from underneath you and you don't understand what to do to fill that gap, right? So that's kind of where your massage practice came from. And, I'm 2 or 3 years into yourmassagepractice.com, and I'm still figuring out stuff, because the reality is that with any business is that it takes time to figure it out. It takes time in your practice to figure out, we talked about this in the first part of this interview. It takes time to figure out, like, who am I really serving? And then to really drill down on that and create marketing that's so effective around that, and to make sure that your client retention around that is like from day one or before day one, because if you don't have client retention in mind as you're marketing, you're wasting time, and you're wasting energy. And And so all of these things that I was like, oh yeah, I do know how to talk about this. I do know how to teach people how to do this. Then Your Massage Practice came along, and I was like, just like when I started my private practice, I was like, oh, this will be so easy.
Right.
I already have the connections. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a good teacher. I've been teaching for a while. I've been doing all this other stuff, and it was the same thing. So I know that everybody does this. I do this. We all start even a different aspect of our business going like, oh, this is going to be so easy. No problem. And it just never is. And so in that first year of yourmassagepractice.com, I was like, oh yeah, why did I think this would be different? And then at this point, I'm just amused about it, because it's just such a human thing. But yeah, we continue to learn and evolve and hone our services and hone the way we talk about our services over time. And so, as much as Your Massage Practice has come out of wanting to really help other people learn how to start their practices in a way that wasn't going to just leave them totally disappointed at the end of the practice building process and feel like they knew what next steps to take, because at the end of any program, your practice probably isn't fully built, but I wanted people to know, like, okay, you've done this program and you now know exactly what you need to do to continue the work. And so
don't you wish that you existed when you started?
That's a lot of where this came from.
I was thinking that. I was like, oh man, that's when I think of Healing Ways as well, that's what I often think. I'm like, I would have loved to have this resource. And when you're talking, I'm like, oh, I wish I had Isabel when I had started.
Yeah. And good. I'm seeing the chats coming in.
Some stuff. Yeah. Let's take a break for a second and check that out.
Cool.
You can see them. So I'm going to let you just answer.
Okay. So I just want to, let's go back to the Bluesy Brother, you're trying to start getting a chair business going. That's awesome. I've known a couple of people who have had really strong chair massage businesses, working in different workplaces, things like that. And it's been really satisfying for them. So that's super exciting. Congratulations.
And it's fun. I did that for a short period of time.
Yeah.
As a way to build, because I wanted to have my office still, but I was like, well, maybe I'll just start my own massage business. There's all these businesses that do it for you, but why not just go start your own?
Yeah. Awesome. And actually, chair massage is one of the best ways, depending on what kind of work you do, what your specialties are. Chair massage was really effective for me. Like, I dragged my chair around to all these different dance studios and martial arts studios, and I never did volunteer events or like post-marathon events, stuff like that. I just never, the people I talked to who do those events, I didn't hear any of them getting actual clients out of that. So I kind of went a different route and just went straight to small business owners. But yeah, the chair massage part of it can be super awesome. And I also did some events where I lugged around my whole table with me, and even with a little carrier thing and stuff like that. It was so much better just to carry the chair.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so
totally.
That's cool.
It is a great, and he. I'm just gonna skip ahead just for a sec because Bluesy Brother did say, "Is it worth the time to market this way?" And I say, yes.
Heck yeah. I'm glad you followed up on that, Amber. Yeah, reading that second part of that, because it is one of the most effective ways to market. And of course, you have to know, for some people, it's really intuitive. For me, the onboarding process was never intuitive. So I always just like to throw in here, for really outgoing, gregarious people, the onboarding, turning a chair massage person into a full session person and repeat person in your practice. There's a process there. And so go into it knowing it's not just going to happen. You're going to have to talk to people. You're going to have to follow up. You want to start to create the relationship with those chair massage events and see it as starting these relationships with those folks. I did a run club a Nike run club, and it was great. Nike brought me on and blah, 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 and it was awesome. None of those people turned into full-time. One of those people turned into full-time clients. So certain things will work better than others, but the way to figure out what's going to work for you and your personality and the types of people that you serve is just to do exactly what Mr. Bluesy Brother is doing and get out there and just try it. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep experimenting with different ways to market it. And It can definitely, yeah, I did a lot of awesome chair massage gigs for quite some time, and in my case, it really did pay off to some full-time clients.
Yeah.
Things. And if nothing else, getting your name out there, because sometimes those people didn't actually contact me for a session, but they sent people to me.
Yes.
So it's such a great way. If you like to do it and you you have the personality for it, like Isabel said, go for it.
And even if you're not sure if you have the personality for it, I still recommend, you have to do something to market your practice and try it. You've got to try things that you're uncomfortable with sometimes.
Exactly.
So,
and we talked about that on previous episodes.
Yeah, that's true. We have.
All right, let's go
So
on.
I want to, real quick. So Victor at Aqua for Life asked, when did I start with the Own Your Practice program? Yeah, so yourmassagepractice.com is where my programs live, and Own Your Practice is the practice building program. It's sort of the comprehensive program that I created in order to walk practitioners through this whole thing, and then they get live support from me and all kinds of good stuff. I also have the blog membership and the tune-up classes. And so the Own Your Practice program was sort of the first thing that I did when I dove into all of this, because I knew I wanted this comprehensive program. And so I started that about 3 years ago, which would have been 9 years into my private practice. And prior to that, I had, as far as online stuff goes, in my specialty with the abdominal work, with the belly work, I had a program of videos for people to learn how to massage their own bellies in a safe and effective way so that they could help their own abdominal adhesions or other, their scars, other distresses going on. And that I started in, I want to say 2011.
Okay.
So that was a long time ago. So I'd already had some familiarity with what it was like to put a program online. So even though that one at that time wasn't for specifically massage therapists, it was actually for clients and to be able to help more potential clients through these videos. I started that, I guess, so that would have been like 4 years into my practice is when I started putting little things online. And then that has grown. There's actually now a practitioner program to train massage therapists and other practitioners who have license to touch how to work with bellies in an effective, safe and effective way. And then, so that all, the online stuff kind of started about the 4-year mark, but I didn't start the program. And then in between there, I did lots of teaching in like live situations, like workshops and kind of one-on-one mentoring a little bit with other massage therapists to help them learn, like, what does it really take to grow a practice? And then over time, I just realized, like, I don't want to do this piecemeal. I want it all in one place. And then, so about 9 years into my practice, I started Own Your Practice.
Nice.
In Your Massage Practice. Yeah.
Nice. What a great program for sure. Who is the perfect, who should come be part of your massage practice or own your massage practice? What level, like, where should someone be, where do they need to be, or maybe they don't need to be anywhere specific in their practice? I mean, is it mostly people just starting out, people transitioning from being an employee to self-employed, someone that's been doing it for a long time, just needs some extra help?
Yeah, so it's kind of run the gamut so far.
Okay.
I definitely have, I'm always so excited when people who haven't started their practice yet, but are thinking about starting their practice, reach out to me. And to date, only one person who is just at the very beginning of their private practice has started in the program like at that moment, before they've kind of like floundered around and tried to figure it out on their own. And so that's always exciting. And I love catching people at that point because it just saves a lot of time and a lot of confusion, and it gives you a way to be connected to a group of people who are doing the same thing, growing their practice, and are at various stages of it, and also directly to me, of course, and I love helping. So so that's a good time to start, I think, is right at the very beginning, or even slightly before the very beginning of your private practice, so you can kind of get some momentum and have an idea of like, okay, this is what I'm in for. These are all the things I need to be tracking and thinking about as I am just opening my doors, right? Because there's a lot of prep work that can go into that. And when you're having to manage like a small handful of clients and all of this prep work and go back and like fix things up and create the structure a little bit more soundly for the future, that can be a lot. And it feels for some people like totally overwhelming. And it just depends on what else you have going on in your life. But the sooner you can catch it when you're thinking about starting your practice, or you're just right at the beginning, that's usually the most stress relieving time to join the program. But I've had people who have been in part-time practice for like a decade, just seeing a couple, 3 clients a week, very part-time, and now they want their own full-time practice. That has gone very well for a number of the people. I've had people come in like kind of in the middle. They're already in the mix. They started their practice. It's not quite going the way they expected. They want some extra help. And so, like using the program to kind of like get that back on track, or get it on track for the first time, maybe, And then I've also had one person who owned a clinic. She had built her full private practice to the point where she was overflowing with clients and started taking on employees. And by the time she got to the Own Your Practice program, she had a clinic. And so a lot of her time was spent in the program kind of figuring out how to train her massage therapist to do all of the things that we talk about in the program, like client retention, and like her therapists aren't on the money management side of things. But even when you've moved into something bigger, like running a clinic, there are still some basic things that if you haven't quite nailed them down in your private practice, that you have to go back and like retrofit and stabilize things. And sometimes that's the money management piece of it. Like, you would be amazed at not just massage therapists, but at the number of businesses overall that do not have solid money tracking, money management, money projection, separate accounts for like, this is money that goes into maintaining the space, or this is money that goes for taxes, or having any sense, like for many business owners, not just massage therapists, that is a mess. And it makes it really hard to run a long-term business if that's not really nailed down, and you're not used to tracking your money and going back and looking at the data of the money that you've brought in already, and where that came from, and how it came in, and how many return clients you really have, like really tracking retention rates and all of this good stuff, So even at sort of this higher level, quote unquote higher level of running a clinic, like sometimes you have to go back and restabilize a lot of that stuff. Because especially when you grow organically and things just kind of happen almost, sometimes a lot of that really important structural stuff gets left behind, and then that can really get you into trouble in the long term. So it's a long answer to a short question, like, when should people join the program? Like, it
just join it. See what she has to offer. It's awesome.
That's right.
Says, what a great program. No, I am so impressed by what you have created, and as someone also that just shares the same passion of helping other practitioners succeed, I just am all the time just super impressed with this program, and I continue to hear really great things about it. So I wanted to say thank you for helping support our industry and for doing this for other massage therapists. And you do actually, I've heard you say a lot of the things are helpful for practitioners of other modalities as well. So if you're listening and you're not a massage therapist, I think Isabel has a lot of great stuff to help you, even if you're not a massage therapist or body worker. I just want to take a minute here to check back.
Can I just say one last thing about my work at your massage practice? I think I just want to throw out there, because I've seen a lot of mentoring for massage therapists, or other sort of practice building programs that I haven't been in, so I don't know how robust they are. But I'm seeing a lot of stuff offered by massage therapists who kind of no longer want to be massage therapists. They actually want to be coaches or things like that. And that's fine. I'm not dissing that. But I do think that there is strength in the fact that I still run my full-time private practice. Like, this is on top of that. And I'm trying to figure out like how they work together, because I'm not interested in stopping my hands-on work. I love working with my clients. I love the work that I do as a massage therapist. And I think it's so important to work with somebody who really resonates with the work itself and isn't necessarily at that moment trying to walk away from it, like trying to find a different thing to do in life. Not that that's a bad thing, but I do think it's something to take into consideration that the things that I tell my students to do, I still actively do in my own practice. Like all of the marketing stuff, all of the client intake stuff, I still go through stuff with my clients, managing the client relationship, the money stuff, the whole thing. Like, I just want to say, like, I do think there is strength in the fact that I still run my own practice as I'm teaching this. And so I just wanted to throw that in there.
Well, I will just add on to that real quick. When I first launched Healing Ways, Isabel came to our launch party. I still remember this. And at the time, I was completely overwhelmed with starting this giant company and going from helping a few massage therapists to I'm going to help the nation.
Right.
And I asked you, I was like, in my mind, I was starting to think that I need to there's no way I can do both. And so I asked Isabel, well, when do you plan on quitting massage? And she just like looked me straight in the eyes and was like, never. I go, well, like never? I didn't know the exact word. And she was like, no, I will always do it. Like, I will continue to do this until I can't anymore, or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm totally paraphrasing, but it really did stick with me. And in fact, as the time went on, as I launched the business and I went, like, I just tested out stepping back from massage more. Mm-hmm. I even hired somebody to help out because I was like, maybe I'll start thinking about selling my business. I really started to miss it.
Yeah.
It was, and what Isabel said to me stuck. And I was like, yeah, I think I can be like that too. And so, yeah, when she says that she is in it still. And as I am too. I mean, I have severely cut back on my schedule, but I still do 10 to 12 hours of massage work a week.
Yeah.
While tending to my other business and helping other practitioners. How many massages are you still doing, Isabel? I'll just ask that, and then I want to check back on the questions real quick.
Yeah. No, that's about where I'm at. I'm anywhere. It depends on the week, and I let it flex a little bit because I do have, like this past couple weeks, I've been interviewed on a couple other podcasts and things like that, and I've been working with a PR firm and stuff, and so I let it flex between like 10 and 15 clients a week, and on weeks when I have a lot of other stuff going on, it's in the 10 range, and then on the other weeks, like these next couple weeks are insane. Like I have a lot of clients because it's kind of like that catch up, like, ooh, everybody wanted to get in, I guess I didn't have enough spots available, things like that, so.
Well, great way modeling flexibility.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Let me just check out the questions real quick because we're gonna have to wrap up here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah. So I'm seeing an issue. So the Bluesy brother brought up this question about is following a couple of massage therapists on Instagram, and some of the male therapists have videos that are of them working on other people that have kind of like that sexual vibe to them. And his question is, from a marketing standpoint, how do you feel about males marketing this way? I mean, this is such a huge topic in our industry, right? Is like how do massage therapists who don't involve themselves in any kind of sexual behavior in their practices, how do we make sure that we are clear about the distinction between us and other potentially unlicensed, very often unlicensed massage therapists who are engaging in that level of sexual activity, whatever it may be, whether it's just the inference of it or if that's actually part of their work. So I am pretty unabashed about, like, I have no problem with the sex industry. Like, I've had sex workers in my practice. I don't really have a lot of, like, I don't feel a lot of moral high ground about, like, sex is bad, nothing like that. Yeah. But I do think that as a business owner, licensing should mean something. And I think it's very clear in any place where licensing is actually a thing or certification is a thing, that's all non-sexual work. And so I think that I think our boards actually should be stepping up to really like enforce their rules, which most boards don't actually really enforce their rules. They don't fine businesses that are marketing sexualized massage or whatever that might be practices. They don't actually enforce the difference between, we have licensed massage therapists who do not do sexualized work, and then we have these other people who are not They might be licensed, but that, they're acting out of scope of practice. Like as a business owner, the best I can do is if our board isn't going to do that, then I have to find ways in my marketing to just be crystal clear, and in my professionalism, and in the way, like making sure, taking the extra steps necessary to make sure that in everything I do that is outward facing to the community, that it's just, there's no question that that's about what I do, right? And so I think, the onus falls on us as as practice owners to just be crystal clear. And I don't know, what do you think, Amber?
I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, I think it does come down to us, and also, don't get involved in that if that's not what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're trying to run a non-sexual business as a licensed massage therapist, that's the way you need to come across. I mean, if your marketing is sexual, but that's not what you provide or your license says is okay, which most don't, I don't think. Then I think that's a terrible way to market. Honestly, I'll just be honest, like, terrible way to market.
And the thing is that it's not just about the marketing. It's about when people show up in your office, like, how are you talking to them? Like, do you, what is your lighting like? What does your space look like? Are you being careful about the vibe that you're giving off? Like, I was really worried about this in the beginning of my practice. Like, when I was bringing in clients, like now almost all of my clients are referrals, or I know who they are before they ever get to, like things like that. But in the beginning, that wasn't the case. I was having a lot of people, I had no idea who they were coming into my practice. And so I probably went overboard. Like my office was extremely well lit. I had huge windows and it was very bright. I was always dressed in a very non-sexual way. And I was very clear, like I used a lot of technical terms and anatomical jargon, and it was just like, I probably went really overboard, but that was how I handled that. I'm not saying that's how you have to handle that, but it is in how we present ourselves, just being completely unambiguous in ourselves about what it is that we are doing, and knowing that we can be nurturing to people without crossing that line. And if you have any doubts about whether or not you may be coming off with a vibe that's not clear, just verbally saying, to be clear, this massage is X, Y, Z. It's very comforting to clients as well as helpful to you as a practitioner. So,
yeah. Well, and the Bluesy brother was saying, of course he doesn't do that. But I wanted to answer this really quick, because he said, and I have noticed this as well, they seem to be very successful as far as followers. We're talking like on social media and whatnot. I would agree, they seem to be very, very successful. Whether or not they are, who really knows? They may just have a really good PR person. They may have hired influencers to help them. And honestly, sex sells, right? Like, so sex sells likes and followers and media attention. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have full thriving practices. And they may not be working within their integrity either. Maybe it doesn't feel good to them, but they're just doing it to get the likes and followers. Is that what you want to do? Probably not, right? Like, that's, I just say, like, have high integrity of yourself, your business, the practice, the industry in general, and, just keep shining that light and staying within your integrity, and stick with instructional videos. Yes.
Yeah. And thanks for bringing that up, Bluesy brother. I think, it unfortunately becomes sort of like for so many different reasons, it can be a difficult topic to talk about, but it's important, and I'm glad you brought it up. And I really like that you brought it up from the male perspective as well, because as females, we know what it's like to have pervy dudes calling us and asking us, like, what kind of massage do you do? And like, geez, and the answer always is, like, you show up as fully in your integrity and doing what you do, and be willing to just gently address anything that comes up. Hopefully you'll never be in a situation where you have to escort somebody from your office or things like that. Yeah. I never have in 12 years. It's never been an issue for me.
I've had to twice.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. It totally blows that this is part of it. But it's, it's, and Victor brought up a good point too. So he practices Watsu, which is in the water, which can be very intimate. And he used to practice in a community pool. He had to be very careful about what moves he was using because people were judging the level of intimacy kind of looking on. And I mean, we have to really be aware of our surroundings and what's going on and how other people might perceive it. And as much as, as practitioners, as much as we may rail against that, it's about more than just our work in that moment. And that's just the reality. And we have to, I think, be willing to grapple with that reality and not just jump on our high horse and be like, but it's therapeutic because I say it's therapeutic. It is therapeutic. And I totally trust Victor. I've been in the pool with him, and so it's not about like, what do you know about your work? We also do have to be aware of how it's coming across the community around us. And does that kind of suck sometimes? Sure. But that's the reality. And I also think that there are lots of ways that we can continue to educate people about our work and all of that good stuff. So.
Yes. Definitely. Well, look at us going off on a big, giant tangent. That's what we like to do. We will probably dedicate another show to this topic. Sounds like, I've noticed it too, Blizzy Brothers, so thank you for bringing it up.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I have so many more questions for Isabel. I'll probably have to do another interview of her sometime. But that's really all the time we have. We actually went over the time because your questions were so awesome.
So thank you for all the interactions.
Show. I'm going to let her close it on out.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Amber, for doing this. And, I was sort of like, well, how's this going to go in the beginning? But I thought it was very enjoyable, and hopefully people got a lot out of it. I really I love doing these episodes with you, Amber, about talking business. It's so important, I think. So everybody check out Amber's work at healingwaze.com. And we are here the first Friday of every month, 10 a.m. Pacific. So if you want to jump on to our YouTube live stream as we are recording this podcast, please show up and we will answer your questions, as you can hear. And then, yes, we know that sometimes on this YouTube stuff, the sound does not come across quite as well as we would hope.
We're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. But just be consoled by the fact that this does come out in podcast form, in which the sound is all good. And so if you didn't catch something here, we hope to see you on the podcast. And thank you all so much for being here. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.